Call of Duty Infinite Warfare is a game created by Infinity Ward and published by Activision. This is what many consider as the fourth modern Call of Duty game, starting with Ghosts. Now before I get into any detail, I know this video is going to be very long. I want to give you guys timestamps and split this into sections that you can watch at a time. We'll start with campaign, then multiplayer, then zombies, and finish off with the DLC cycle, mostly pertaining to the zombie mode. I've also gone and platinumed this game, so I have a pretty good grasp on the whole game. I've also 100%ed all the DLC so far. Keep in mind, I'm starting to write the script at the third DLC came out on Xbox. However, you'll be seeing this well after DLC 4 and right before Call of Duty World War II. You might think, well, why are you covering this game now? The next one's coming out in a few months. Well, like other reviews, I see them more as first impressions and whether or not you should buy them for Christmas. I want to review this for me and how the game stacked up against the entire game's life cycle. Now let's move on to the campaign. If you haven't completed the campaign, this is your spoiler warning. Now some might say I might be harsh on the game, but mind you that this is Call of Duty, the biggest video game franchise ever. So there are some incredibly large shoes to fill. There are 3 developers for the Call of Duty series. Sledgehammer, Treyarch. There are 3 developers for the Call of Duty series. Sledgehammer, Treyarch, and Infinity Ward. Formerly it was just Treyarch and Infinity Ward, but Sledgehammer recently tossed their hat in the ring with Advanced Warfare. Infinity Ward, in my opinion, makes the best campaigns out of the 3, the Modern Warfare 3 being my favorite. I also really enjoyed the Ghost campaign, but I was upset that there wasn't a conclusion to the cliffhanger at the end. So let's start at the beginning. You start as a nameless soldier on Europa. You go into a facility and take control of it. This is your tutorial mission. It reminds me a lot of the Antarctica mission in Advanced Warfare, but it didn't have that Hoth charm to it. Now at the end of the mission you meet the main villain. For some reason they casted Jon Snow to be the villain. You might think, well, they got Kevin Spacey to play the villain in Advanced Warfare. The thing is, Kevin was actually terrifying to be near. This is an omnipresent dictator that you're always near but not close enough to end him. With Jon Snow, he doesn't look terrified. He looks like he's about to cry in this scene. But here's the thing, in this scene, he almost wants you to sympathize with the villain. It seems like you actually want to care about the suppressed Martian colony, but Jon Snow just sits in his Death Star thing. And tells you to surrender all the time. It's like Infinity Ward wanted to make an actual war story to compete with Battlefield 1, and Activision just wanted space Nazis. After this, you're introduced to the main core of characters. Reyes, the Call of Duty guy, Sulter the girl because girl, Omar the robot racist, Rain's the guy that sits here until he dies, and Ethan, the only character in the game. However, I'm pretty sure the game cheats with Ethan because of a scene I'll talk about later. Later they board a dropship, but oh no, a big death cannon strikes against them. It shoots the dropship instead of the super ship behind them. The ship crashes, and you enter the first mission, which is an extended tutorial. Nothing much happens, you fight some guys and get control of the tower. You find out one of the workers is actually working for the SDF, and is one that started taking over the guns. Fuck. However, when you're done with this, you enter your Jackal, which is basically a space fighter. This next part is weird, and we're going to have to revert back to the trailer for this one. This next scene is what made me dislike the trailer. Personally, I didn't mind another future Call of Duty, however this scene happened and it made me want to throw myself out a window. However, this was one of the most interesting scenes in my opinion in the entire game. I can compare it to No Man's Sky the first time you take off your planet. I don't know if it's the music or what, but it's just something about it made an impact on me. Maybe it's my fascination with space or travel and watching shuttles on TV. The space combat is actually kind of fun, however it's a lot of on-rail stuff with the exception of veteran difficulty. After this you were introduced to the Retribution, which is your hub ship thing. You were the captain of it for some reason, which in this next part it makes no sense. Captain is supposed to lead the ship, so every time he leaves the next mission, what if it gets attacked while you're gone? Exactly, the ship is screwed without their leader. It might have made more sense if Rains was the captain, but no, he has to die for some reason in the last mission. The next mission is on the space airport on the moon, which is basically the terminal map on multiplayer. The beginning is a Call of Duty Michael Bay set piece. You enter the actual terminal, for some reason has gravity. One design feature I really enjoyed was the windows. If they broke, it seemed like you would get a game over screen that sucked out, but instead the windows close up with airtight walls. Think about how interesting that'd be though. The enemies almost never face the windows. You do. So it would actually even be even better if you had to watch where you aim so you don't screw over this section of the level. But it's actually the exact opposite, where you just shoot all the windows and all the enemies die. Now, before I go any further, I want to say this here right now. Nearly every mission is the same. I can only think of 2 after the opening mission that are slightly different. You start around by floating in space, then you board the ship, then you fight people in the ship, grab the target, escape with your jet thing, but before you do that, you have a dogfight. In fact, there are only 5 missions in the main Call of Duty Infinite Warfare campaign. The rest are just side missions. However, the game even cheats with that number because it forces you to do a side mission before doing the standard sequence. There's the opening, the lunar terminal, a side mission, a Saturn mission, Dark Quarry, and the finale. To Infinity Ward's credit, the finale is actually very good. It's long, has a ton of action, and forces you to care about characters that you've only talked to once. I actually don't have a lot to talk about on the campaign, except for Dark Quarry and the Saturn one, and then I'll talk about the finale. The Saturn mission actually takes place on Titan, a giant gas moon. It's very basic base infiltration mission. You go in, the Olympus Mons shows up, you destroy a fueling station, you get out. Very basic. But the ending cutscene makes me so angry I didn't want to play from that point on. For those of you who have played the game, you know exactly what I'm talking about. For some reason, your plane gets hit. You crash it into the Retribution, but you eject at the last moment, and you're left floating in space. You're forced to watch this incredibly silly pirate ship broadside battle between the Mons and the Retribution right in front of you. The Retribution jumps away, and you're stuck, floating in space, while your suit is leaking oxygen. Ethan is holding you tight and says the following clip.
Looks like this is the end of the line, partner. I think I'm scared, sir.
And then you fade to black. You're left to assume that Reyes is dead, which would actually be kind of neat. Salter is apparently the same rank as Reyes before he was appointed captain. This would actually be really cool if she is the captain of the Retribution and you play as another character. And you know how I feel, and also a lot of the others felt as the screen faded to black. You feel the impact of that scene, but not until the screen opens back up to Reyes waking up on another ship. I'm going to go off script here because this part makes absolutely no sense. In one part, she says that Ethan's body was frozen, which would be much, much longer than him losing oxygen. How the hell did he not die? There are so many questions. It's like these guys are time travelers and they're frickin' wizards and shit. They're not lucky. They just got... This is just stupid screenwriting for the game to continue with Reyes. Alright, now that that's over, I want to talk about what probably most people say is the best mission in the game, Operation Dark Quarry. This takes place on an asteroid field near Mercury, and it's on an asteroid that's a mining facility. The SDF hacked all the security bots and turned them against the miners. Somehow the characters don't realize this until the end of the mission. There's actually something unsettling in parts of this mission because of the line Ethan says here.
Be advised, there have been incidents with the automation on these C-12. What kind of incidents? Well, there's intel they turn on their squad mates unpredictably in battle.
Holy shit, is that true?
No.
Button it up, Ethan.
But once you put the peanut butter and the jelly together, it's really obvious what happened. This is also interesting because it's the only mission where the setting matters. Something I thought Infinity Ward forgot about after the Europa mission, having the sunlight levels at the same as Earth basically, and also taking place within Jupiter's radiation belt. You have to time your movement with the meteor spinning around. You show you can only go outside while you're in the shadow of the sun. It's not much, but the gameplay near the end is actually quite tense. The enemies don't have guns, so you have to use the tools around you to fight off these almost zombie-like robots. The sun also affects this section because not only do you have to stay out of the light, but depending on whether the sun is up or not, robots shuts down and freezes. It temporarily gives you an opportunity to kill as many as possible. I won't lie when I say playing this on veteran difficulty. I had quite a bit of trouble with this part. You find the miners, you evacuate almost all of them except for one. Omar goes and tries to save him, dies, and this is the start of the terrible chain of deaths this game forces you to whimper over. And this only gets worse in the finale mission, so let's get on to that finale mission. It's actually pretty long and is double, maybe even triple a normal mission's length. This mission is actually pretty good. It's clear all the effort went into this mission alone and has a lot of that Call of Duty spectacle we've come to know and love. It's like the Eiffel Tower collapsing in Modern Warfare 3, firing the Loki satellite and Ghosts, the snowmobile chase in Modern Warfare 2, so on and so forth. You start by coming back to Earth and chasing this prisoner, which is the guy that hacked all the ATIS guns in the start. You try to catch him, but you're met with gunfight after gunfight after gunfight, and I did get Uncharted 1 flashbacks here. And this was a pain in the ass on Veteran as well, so have fun with that. You chase him to the top of a tower, he destroys his transponder, which for some reason means the SDF can destroy Earth now. Doesn't make a lot of sense, which is like, why didn't you do that before? It's not really communicated well with the player. Anyways, you board the Olympus Mons, which is cool. You get to the bridge where Jon Snow is hiding. You get a trophy for killing him before his really long speech ends. Finally, you get control of the Olympus Mons, which is this mega fortress with Death Star laser. You head to Mars and try to destroy as many ships as possible. The goal is the shipyard. They fire back and nearly destroy the thing, which is kind of a middle finger to you, as in the beginning it was seen as this indestructible force that you had to reckon with. And it goes down in like a minute. The Retribution also crashes, and you're waltzing around Mars trying to find survivors. Somehow in like 5 minutes after the crash, they all set up a little base camp, and this is the final assault to destroy the SDF. I think that this should have been a clear checkpoint that you could stop. It is kind of, but for me, I just like, okay, let's get going. You clear a lot of enemies. You get to use that little airplane controller thing again, which was really fun. But oh no, Gator dies. You go up the elevator, it gets stuck. Oh no, Mac dies. You have trouble destroying something, so you control Ethan, and oh no, he dies. You fly out to the space, seeing all the explosions, and oh no, you die. Stop! You know, apparently this game got some assistance from Naughty Dog in terms of writing the story. Is this what they wanted? Every fucking character to die for some reason? Just because characters died in The Last of Us doesn't mean you're gonna be fucking Sam and Henry. It's actually a shame how many forced deaths this game puts in, especially at the end. In the end, you die. That's the story. The other side missions are all the same template I mentioned earlier. You go in through space, you go through the ship, clear out some enemies, fly out on your Jackal. Anyways, that's the story. I know it was short, but I don't really want to go too in-depth because, well, the story has no depth. If you want to go take a break now, go ahead. I'll be talking about multiplayer next. Now let's talk about the multiplayer. This section will be split into maps, weapons, specialists, and then my overall thoughts. When writing the script, it clearly doesn't follow this formula, but I'm just going to say fuck it. This is what I wrote. First, let's talk about the maps themselves. If I'm going to be honest here, there's only one map that I actually enjoy, and it's Frost. Here's the thing. Many people complained about Ghost's maps being too big. I would think they're perfect if they had the jetpacks. But now Infinity Ward has made such small maps where everyone is just a retarded flying eagle who forgets how to fly every half second. Terminal is made much worse because of this. For me, I judge a map on how it flows in the competitive modes: Team Deathmatch, Domination, Hardpoint, and Search and Destroy. Well, in fact, none of this matters actually, because with the addition of the jetpacks, it destroys these maps, because everyone is just a flying chicken monkey. The objectives modes are nearly impossible to solo score. Domination B flags are so poorly placed in some maps, it makes me wonder what the hell the devs were thinking. Other than copying Treyarch's formula, it's somehow making it worse. There isn't a lot to say. The color palette is very bland. They tried, but it's still bland. Now let's talk about the special abilities in this game. They're called payloads in this game, but you know what I mean. Ultimates in Overwatch, specialists in Black Ops 3, so on and so forth. The ability section is still the same here, but the weapons are just really overpowered guns, or epic weapons in this game. I'm not even joking here when I say that. My super gun that took me 4 to 5 minutes to earn it per game is easily shut down by an NV4 Chaos or something. And you lose it, and I get mad. Speaking of the Chaos, let's talk about these weapon variants. This is just... well, wow, Infinity Ward, this is just scratching the bottom of the barrel. This weapon system is so objectively broken, it actually makes me wonder what the hell they were thinking. This weapon system is so broken that only the people who sell their Activision their soul will win the game. I swear, you can give my cousin, who only knows how to play Mario, an epic gun and he'll get a nuke first try. That's how insane these guns are. In fact, the game for me personally is find a guy with an epic gun, kill him, pick up his gun, and go equally as insane. There isn't even a skill gap anymore in this game. It's how much of my soul should I sell to Activision. And that's not even the worst part. In order to obtain these weapons, you have technically two ways of getting these overpowered guns. You can buy them with salvage, which is an incredibly slow system. You get 10 out of a rare box, and daily rewards give you a maximum of 40. You also can get these out of mission team rewards, but you only get like 100 per level, and that's not if you get a stupid calling card or some dumb meaningless prize. Salvage is basically meaningless currency you're lucky to even get a little bit of. You can also get like 5 salvage if you get a duplicate out of a box, which happens way more often than you should think. Which is odd, don't you think? There are so many items in this game, why do I even get duplicates, like, ever? Then Activision turns around and says, oh man, look how many ways you can earn salvage in the game, isn't it so cool? No, it's not. The second method is getting supply drops, which I've been calling boxes for the video. They're just meaningless boxes, and you know you're not going to get anything out of it. To this day, I've only gotten one epic weapon out of box, and that was the Mauler Sentinel. At least it's good in zombies. The last method is just buying a bunch of COD points and hoping for the best, which by many of the popular supply drop opening videos, you're guaranteed at least one. And this is where the problem lies. I could make an entire hour-long video on why microtransactions are the root of all evil. Believe me, I have no problem with cosmetic items only being in boxes, but when it comes to weapons that change the experience of the game in your favor, even when it's not, as if it's a statistically varying weapon that everyone else doesn't have except you, that's when it becomes an issue. Now, I can't speak for everyone, but I haven't bought a single microtransaction, and it blows my mind how people can get sucked into this crap like a casino. Sure, it might be fun every now and then, but you are wasting money on a box of nothingness. This problem even carries over to the zombies mode, where weapons like the Type 2 Butcher are objectively better than nearly every other weapon in the game. And you know what? I could forgive all of this, but something happened. Something pissed me off so far beyond belief, it actually made me want to give up the game entirely. On January 11th, 2017, an update went up, where Infinite Warfare, and I couldn't believe what I saw. Mark II variants. These weapons are an exact copy and paste of the old ones, except you get 15% more XP with these weapons. And the worst part is that you can get 2 versions of the same gun and nothing will happen. The game doesn't even give you extra salvage, nothing. It's just the exact same gun, except you get slightly more XP. And the madness doesn't even stop there. During the holiday season, especially the winter one, the game gave me the RPR Evo Cheap Shot. Then the next day, it gave me the RPR Evo Sledge Shot. The exact same gun, except this one didn't give an XP boost. This was just an exact copy and paste of the Cheap Shot, except this one just had a little pretty snowflake camo on it. And this is insanely depressing, right? All of this, and they still hadn't have any other basic Call of Duty features like leaderboards. Yes, I'm still mad about that. Why the hell did it take nearly 4 months to put a most basic game feature in this game? Well, I do know why. You see, Activision knew no one was going to buy this game. That's why scrolling through the leaderboards would just show you how little people actually play this game. And it gets even worse when they did release the leaderboards, and it shows you percentages of where you stand. Not exactly how many people are better than you, just what percent you are stacked against others. Just another of the many incredible middle fingers this game gives you. Spawns always seem to be a problem, but this game, it's very bad. Want me to name more problems with the game? Okay, here we go. In-game voice chat sucks. Team balancing is broken. I always get stuck with the Johnny No Thumbs against Master Prestiges. Prestige icons look the exact same. I can't tell who's what level. Time to kill is incredibly fast and nearly instant with epic weapons. Kill trading, just the fact that it was being added to the game. Terrible map flow. The fact that I paid $80 for this game and so did everyone else. Movement speed is choppy and not smooth like Black Ops 3. Slow rank up for both mission teams leveling salvage and keys. The special characters aren't interesting. The whole taunt and gestures thing. You couldn't even keep your weapons from the beta. And the fact that this game is basically copied Black Ops 3 in every way and somehow made it worse. Believe me when I say it, this is the most broken Call of Duty game ever. And the one thing I'm seeing from the community right now infuriates me more than anything. People suddenly think Call of Duty Ghosts is the best game ever. I even tried it myself, and I'm constantly reminded of how many flaws that game had in its own right. Maybe the Infinity Ward tried to make it better by keep putting me in Fog, which admittedly is my favorite map. I won't even go anywhere near that, although I just need to tell everyone that thinks Ghost is suddenly the savior of COD needs to fuck off and get rid of those shrooms who've been taken. I want to briefly touch on mission teams for a bit, and then we'll talk about zombies. Mission teams is actually one of my favorite features in this game. It seems like you always have something to work for. However, this feature is squashed by the fact that how slow you rank up in these mission teams. Especially the differences. JFT Wolverines, it feels like you're basically leveling up once per game, maybe twice per game the further you go. I have this up to rank 30, but it feels like I barely even touched this one. Until I got to the Orion, I played a little bit of that, and then I got to rank 13 until I unlocked Saber Team 7. When I unlocked Saber Team 7, I could feel a little bit more time was taken to rank up from this one. But it got even worse when I got to Wraith. I feel like I've played this one the most, but I'm only level 10. But Blood Anvil is the worst of them all. The challenges are next to impossible to get gold, and you have to go full sweaty tryhard every single game just to get the gold. And I think that's the root of the problem. I don't want to go full sweaty tryhard every single game. Sometimes I just want to play, but I can't because all I get is a bunch of people who sold their soul to Activision just to get an objectively better gun than mine. And this is where and why I like Black Ops 3 more. With that game, I can just relax, play, and still do fairly well as long as I'm alert. But sometimes I want to go off and go full sweaty tryhard, and I can. Am I blaming this on my skill? No. Am I blaming this on the gun variants? Absolutely. Because there's no way I can be considered bad at the game when I can do well in every other Call of Duty. But surprise, someone kills me with an objectively better gun than me, and I don't feel like I need to get better at the game. I feel like I need to pay to win as many guns. When someone kills me with an objectively better gun, then I don't feel like I need to get better at the game. I feel like I need to sell my soul to Activision and get some pay-to-win guns. This is the end of the multiplayer section. If you want to take a break, you can. I will be going on to the zombies mode, which is a mixed bag for me. This will sort of bleed with the DLC section, but that's because all I really want to focus is on zombies, and it seems like the zombie team in Infinity Ward did work pretty hard on their idea of zombies. Infinite Warfare Zombies was way overhyped in my opinion. Every zombie YouTuber got a box with stuff in it. Admittedly, it was very entertaining to watch Milo open a box in a parking lot. I did enjoy watching people run to GameStop and seeing the trailer on an old-ass TV. This made me very conflicted with the game and whether I should even buy it or not, so how does Zombies in Spaceland stack up against every other map? Well, the setting is extremely different, and for everything that has this game going against it, I enjoy the very cartoony vibe. Until a little bit later, when around Shaolin Shuffle came around, the effect is similar to how I started to dislike Advanced Warfare. After I raved about it for so long, the thing is, you can clearly see a ton of effort went into the mode and the map. Maybe not though, because it's their first game to technically only have one map on the disc. I say technically because, well, the Giant was released and was available from the start as well. So what can I say about the mechanics? Well, it's a shame that Infinity Ward basically copied Treyarch's mechanics in almost every way. 3-hit downs, perks, gobblegum, or in this case the Fate and Fortune cards, a pack-a-punch, every basic mechanic is here. But there are a lot of things that people don't give Infinity Ward enough credit for. They added Trailblazers, which is what the community has been asking for, and it was Banana Colada. They added a perk that increased melee damage, which was interesting. The arcade was probably the most creative thing Infinity Ward could pull out of their ass, and it's a shame they couldn't change it up for every map. Now I slept on it and played some more, I realized that there's even more depth to this map. The ticket system is probably the most interesting thing about this map. You can go to the arcade and earn tickets. These tickets can earn you more items, such as special grenades, weapons, and attachments, some of which are critical to the Easter egg. There is also a token system in which matching 3 tokens on a certain combination can get you certain traps, such as a sentry gun, a boombox, which is this game's monkey bomb, a firework trap, which is kind of like the IMS from Ghosts, and tons more. Also, some zombies carry backpacks, and those backpacks can give you points, other types of equipment, and glasses. Yes, glasses. I'm going to interject here and say that it's been about 3 weeks between writing the previous line and the next part of the script. I've had to buffer and wait for A, the Beast from Beyond to release, and B, beat both Easter egg and the Super Easter egg. The wonder weapons were very unique, and the Easter egg was, and still is, a complete pain in the ass. They took it one step further with the Ghost and Skull Easter egg, which was one of the most interesting things in the mode. You can get permanent perks as a reward, which is great, but would have been preferable to been able to do before you complete the Easter egg. But at least they made it an option in other maps. To my surprise, the map as a whole seems easy, and it is, but the brutes are a real pain in the ass, so be ready for those. The special rounds are unique in every map, which is a nice detail. Spaceland, you have the clowns. Raven the Redwoods, you have the Bigfoot guys, the monkeys, or whatever you want to call them. In Shaolin Shuffle, you got the skaters. In Attack of the Radio Thing, you have the Krogs. And in Beast from Beyond, you have cryptids. Playing as David Hasselhoff is a real treat, showing others that you completed the hardest challenge in the game. Keep in mind that this is part of the video I am purely talking about zombies in Spaceland and the mode itself. When Lee Ross announced the bank, I got very worried, but thankfully it's actually incredibly useful. You can help out teammates who are struggling, and they can get back on their feet. If there's one thing I'm upset about, though, it's the double pack-punch fuses. Don't get me wrong, I think it's a smart idea, but I think that because I did the Easter egg, I should get the fuses no matter what. Some might be confused, but let me explain it. At the end of the Spaceland Easter egg, you get a fuse that allows you to double pack-a-punch in that game. In Raven the Redwoods, as long as you got the fuses in Spaceland, they're already there for you to pack-a-punch in Raven the Redwoods. There's even an indication on the menu screen that shows that you've got it. So how come in Shaolin, Attack, and Beast from Beyond, you have to go on some quest to do it? I don't know. But in Director's Cut, it's also nice because, it's already there. So now let's talk about the actual Zombies in Spaceland Easter egg. This is the game's major weakness, and it's the Easter egg. And it's a trend that I've been worried about all the way back from Zetsubou no Shima. You get 3 parts, do a thing, then boss. For Spaceland, the Easter egg can be summed up in this same formula. You build the Cytocom, defend it 3 times, place some speakers, do the boss fight. And let me tell you this right now, the Spaceland boss fight is one of the hardest boss fights ever. It's to the point where you basically need God mode or be a god at zombies. This is mostly due to the fact that there are a certain number of aliens depending on the number of players, instead of being like George Romero, where the alien has more health. Because I care about zombies so much, I'm going to rank the maps in the way of which I most enjoyed them. Fifth being I didn't care so much and about the map, and first being my favorite. Zombies in Spaceland for me is right in the middle, being my 3rd favorite map. It's my 3rd favorite Easter egg, has middle of the road feel. Nothing stands out about it except it's in a theme park. Other than that, it's an average par Zombies map for both IW and Treyarch standards. Your reward for completing the Easter egg is unlocking Double Pack-a-Punch, and like I said before, I wish you could get it as your mark of completing the Easter egg, but having David Hasselhoff as a playable character is too. However, I might say Raven the Redwoods is my favorite Infinity Ward map, and in terms of the Easter egg and as map in general. In fact, I'd put it up there with some of the better Treyarch zombie maps. Not Origins great, but great in general. It's a varied level of fun and enjoyment. That's not to say that this map has its flaws. The Easter egg leading up are weak again. Do a thing 3 times, fight the dude, you collect the picture, and do a ritual 3 times, and then kill the giant slasher. This might sound like a bad thing, but trust me, the boss fight is one of the best in all of Zombies. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's talk about the actual map and its flow. This is by far the easiest map to play, and it starts out great. The theming is on par in one of the best Zombies maps. You actually feel like you're in a movie with Mike Myers. I almost want to say Infinity Ward should make horror games because of how well their horror-themed maps are, Fog by far being my favorite multiplayer map in Ghosts. But maybe not, because really these maps are just a bunch of horror tropes slapped together, so I guess they make a great experience of horror, not actually scary stuff. If you want the best experience, head to the cabins first, instead of the amphitheater. I remember playing the map on my first time when I got home from school, booted it up, and just exploring the map. Then a zombie dropped an item. I didn't know what it was, but I did a few rounds later. I walked near the big bonfire, and I hold square. I did it, and then suddenly I was in rave mode. I was surrounded by colors. This was so cool. I wonder what secrets are hidden in rave mode. A whole map to explore basically 2 times over. However, what I didn't realize was that entering rave mode above round 10 had a consequence. The slasher appeared. Not realizing what it was, I was shooting for my life, and then I died. That experience was one of the most exciting, and from then on, I was hooked on the map. What other things can I explore, and what can Infinity Ward possibly do for the next map for a moment like that? Now on to the flow of the map. This is probably the most player-friendly map. There are plenty of spots. Hell, the island is like the biodome and moon. 2, maybe even 3 people can train there. You can trade in the rave area, the amphitheater, and the beach. You can also camp on the docks. There's even more depth to the gameplay with the memory charms. There are 10 in total. Each have their own little 1 to 2 step side quests that you can do while you're playing. For example, one of the memory charms is a shovel. You go over to the marsh, activate it, kill about 5 skeletons, and you can equip the charm. Now you have a small perk. The shovel kills all nearby zombies when reviving a teammate. Another charm is the fish. You grab the fish, go to the docks, toss a grenade at the glowing thing in the water, and there you go. These charms add a small depth to gameplay you wouldn't expect. Challenge badges are this game's version of the tickets. While it's not a currency, it does give you a small player challenge to acquire the repulsor grenades, transponders, and other equipment you could find in Spaceland. However, I was very surprised that there wasn't a separate version of the Afterlife arcade. Sure, it made sense in Spaceland, but in a rave it would have been cool if there was a cabin version, maybe darts or other camp activities. It only makes sense now after the Beast Within Beyond was released. Now, the main Easter egg itself is very boring. You talk to Kevin, fight the dude 3 times, and do the boss. However, I might say this is the second best boss fight in Infinite Warfare Zombies. This is because it is a mechanics-based boss fight. I feel like the closer to a Destiny raid boss it is, the better I will like it. It starts by filling up skulls with souls. The number of skulls depends on the players, so 5 for 4 players and 2 skulls on solo. Filling up the skulls creates a ring, and the giant fuckboy stands in the ring, and the next stage begins. Big Boy isn't a bullet sponge. You just shoot the symbols. Shoot all the symbols, and you have to defend yourself against the skeletons. Do this 2 more times, he becomes a bullet sponge. The 3rd time, you kill him. Pick up the soul key, woohoo. Your reward for completing the Easter egg is getting the chainsaw. It's pretty epic, but not unlimited ammo for some reason. And for some reason, you can't use it in a separate game, even with Director's Cut. You have to complete the Easter egg before you pick it up. You also get Kevin as a playable character, which is pretty cool. Shell and Shuffle, on the other hand, is my least favorite map. I'd go as far to say I hate it, but it's really good for key farming. In fact, I'd put it way down on the list with Transit and Dire Eyes. It's not as bad as them, but it's in the bottom tier of zombie maps. It's that bad. But I'm not going to say I hate it for no reason. I'm going to explain. I'm going to interject here and, well, say I hate New York City. But that doesn't dock any points for the map. If you didn't look up, it'd be just like any other city, such as Chicago, Philadelphia. This map is embarrassingly small. It only takes like 20 seconds to get from one side to the other without teleporters. And what drives me crazy about this map is that there's only 2 levels of depth. There's the surface level, which is playing like normal, getting the guns, opening the doors, pack a punch, and all that, getting your chi power. The second level is basically the Easter egg, and you might say, well, isn't that all maps? Well, no. You see, I hate bringing up Origins, but it's a godsend of comparisons from what's bad to good. In Origins, you can make the staffs, or stop there. You can upgrade them, and lo and behold, upgrading the staffs leads to other things. Huh? There's a pedestal down here, and there's 3 robots, or 3 other staffs? Huh. In Shaolin, there's no tiers. It's either do the Easter egg or don't. And the Easter egg, aside from being a painstaking long, is very obnoxious as well. Let me explain. In most maps, there are clues to getting things. For example, in the Spaceland, you see cardboard cutouts and wonder, what can you get out of that? There's also a giant UFO in the middle of the mountain. I wonder what you can do with that. In Raven the Redwoods, there's pictures on the ground, and I wonder what you can do with that. Although I criticize it for being repetitive, it still makes sense. One of the trophies is called scrapbooking, after all. But in this map, you start the Easter egg by following a rat around. Yeah. Then, once you're done, you grab a key. Okay, now you take it to a locker. Makes sense. And now you have to shoot symbols outside the map. I have no idea why. Now it's time to fight the Rat King for the first time. You beat him once and you get his eye. This eye helps you see hidden symbols around the map, which kind of makes sense. Shooting all the symbols leads you to a phone that plays Morse code, and that Morse code leads to a number on a poster. Okay then, I'm really not joking. I'm really not joking. What does this have to do with anything? Now you have to spell out a random word on the roof. Great. Now you have the rat's brain. Fantastic. You keeping up with this? Because I sure as hell am not. Talking to Pam now tears the film a bit. 4 rounds later, the film is torn. This is cool, but doesn't make any sense. You now have a subway turnstile sent back from Beast from Beyond for some reason. And now you have to kill a bunch of zombies. And now you have to kill a bunch of zombies in a bunch of glowing rings around the map. Now you have to kill disco zombies while another zombie is on the dance floor. Now you kill the rat for the third time, and now you fight him as the final boss. Kill him, and that's the Easter egg. That was a very long Easter egg. Does any of that make sense? No, it doesn't. This is just things happening. You see in most Easter eggs, the things you're doing kind of make sense. Nothing in this Easter egg even makes sense. Someone please tell me what I'm doing here. Doesn't matter in the end, because you go to the next map and your reward is the katana. I think this is a better reward than Rave, because in the future matches of Shaolin you can buy the katana for 10,000 points. This is cool and all, but it gets old fast with the sword. Double pack-a-punch is a key farm, and it gets boring as fuck sometimes. So what else is there to do in the map? Well, the nunchucks. That's it. They're pretty cool, and they give a slight backstory to the other characters, and it gives a slight hint to the super Easter egg. When you finish this mini Easter egg, you get a fire sale, and your first spin is always the nunchucks. You can double pack these and get unlimited ammo. It's very useful and fun to use. There's also chi, which is kind of cool the first time you use it. You get more upgrades the more you use it, and you unlock the secret teleporters and drops. The traps and the way you get them are in a new way. Basically, you have to find a bunch of little mahjong tiles around the map and put them in a certain spot to get the trap. The trap is rechargeable. I think it's every 2 rounds. This is a good twist on the trap systems. I'm glad they didn't copy it from the first 2 maps in the way that you get gems and match the color combinations. There's still, and never will be, a ticket system. Maybe they could have used karate energy, I have no idea. Doing enough of it could recharge your chi or get something at a discount. Skullbreaker is a great challenge, and again, gives you all the perma perks. It's the easiest in both task and machine. All you have to do is get a rag and window cleaner, play a game of mahjong, shoot some windows, do a hippity hoppity, call a dumb boy, and boom boom boom, you're in the machine. Before I end this map, I will talk about the boss fight. The boss fight is pretty interesting. It's a combo of bullet sponge and mechanics. It's in 3 phases, and you get to choose which phase you start with and end with. The brain is the easiest part. You literally have to do nothing. Just run in a circle for a few minutes, and boom, done. Next is the eye, and you have to use your eye ability to shoot the symbols around the map. Pretty simple. Finally, the heart. And you have to use a powerful weapon. For those who aren't sure, the M1 with Eagle Eye works wonders, or you can get the nunchucks. It's easier now because you can just get the katana, and all you have to do is kill zombies over the acid. You have a very limited time. Do it, and that's all 3 phases. These are simple on paper, but sometimes people are dumb and can't comprehend killing zombies in a certain spot. And that's all for Shaolin Shuffle. It's probably the most difficult map and my least favorite, but I don't hate it because it's hard. I would like to point you out to Shangri-La on how to make a great difficult map. Boss Battle mode comes out tomorrow, so I should probably hurry up in this video. Attack of the Radioactive Thing is the messiest of the bunch. The trailer released after it came out. The map itself was very glitchy. However, this is number 2 in my book of best maps. I do appreciate the Ascension vibe they put in as the map starts in grayscale. Then buying the second door in either direction turns on the color. If I were to change it, I would make it that the color would activate by talking to Elvira, put Elvira at the far end of the map, and the beach area somewhere else. Probably swap the 2. Or maybe I could just put the spawn area at the market instead of the big movie theater area. The map does a great job of capturing the 1950s California vibe. The music you hear around the map really drives us home, and in my opinion, this does the best of capturing the movie vibe, which is what Infinity Ward was going for. The music you hear around the map really drives us home, and in my opinion, does the best of capturing a movie vibe, which is what Infinity Ward was going for, making these maps feel like a movie. I would say Rave also does a good job at this. However, the other maps just make you feel like you're in the era, not in a movie. Even the name, Attack of the Radioactive Thing, is perfect for a 50s movie vibe. You have a big drive-in theater with old-fashioned cars, old-fashioned cameras, hotels, music, everything. It's very interesting, and you get to the beach and you look in the distance and you see the radioactive thing. It's called Krogzilla, but, it's the radioactive thing. It crawls towards you, but it doesn't attack you. It only launches Krogs, which are max ammo rounds. I think it would have been nice for him to spew radioactive ooze on the ground so the beach is inaccessible for a round or so. I don't know, things for this monster to be more scary other than just hearing me in the background. There are some things about DLC 3 and box wonder weapons. BO2 had the Paralyzer, BO3's Ray Gun Mark III, and IW's map. What I mean is that this is the only map where you can get the wonder weapons out of the box without director's cut. Everything else you have to do a little quest for it. However, you can upgrade the MAD with 3 parts around the map. Elvira's the guest star this time around, and I don't know many 50s movie stars, so I guess this is alright. Again, it's kind of interesting bringing back a map with this time period. I don't know a ton of elders that play Call of Duty, so this is really cool. You might think that, COD is set even earlier than that. Well, those take place in war times, and there's a lot more records. And you learn about that in history class. This is another of one of the more player-friendly maps. There's 5 great training spots: theater, outside the market, the hotel, beach, and that back park thingy. I also enjoy the way you get to Pack-a-Punch. Instead of getting parts, you have to fill up a vial of something green, whatever. I don't know. Give it to Elvira, and the Pack-a-Punch portal will actually be in 2 different locations after your first entry outside of the movie studio. This map also has what I call knowledge advantage. What I mean is that you can know the Easter egg, but there's also shortcuts to those Easter eggs that you can learn it to advance yourself even more. For example, look at the number and look at the TV. You don't even have to change the color to see what your chemistry number is. There's so much thinking that in the communities people will specifically put must be good at the chemistry step. The thing is, you can literally have a cheat sheet or just guess all 4 of the chemicals to put into the bomb. I do think it's very creative that all the boards change numbers based on the color you have. And yes, you can change the color from full color to a red tint, to a green tint, to a blue tint. I like this feature. It spices a lot of things up, and it confuses people in pubs. The Easter egg strays away from the 3 things formula. Instead, you build a zombie with parts around the map. Get a code, open the garage, do some chemistry, and finally the boss fight. That all doesn't sound like a lot, but it's great because you can do and play about 3/4 of the Easter egg while doing rounds. What frustrates me the most is that the best maps have the worst skull machines, while the worst maps have the best skull machines. The steps to Skull Hop, especially 3 and 4, are so asinine. I swear they wanted to communicate a greater message. Developing the game is boring, and we wanted to be as bored as possible by literally guessing 4 numbers in a combination. This means you have an upward of 9,000 combinations, all to spell out a word on the wall. This puzzle is so defying dumb. There's no logic to it. There's no cipher to make it go faster. The only thing you can do is write down what combination you got for a specific letter. I spent an upwards of 40 minutes on my first attempt doing this, all because I couldn't find the damn letter A. Skull Hop itself is very fun, but frustrating when people don't know what to do, and trust me, there's a lot. Now let's go on to the boss fight. Again, I enjoy this one because it's very mechanics-based. In fact, I believe you don't even shoot the monster at all with your own weapons. You carry the bomb down to the beach, then you shoot the monster with one of the 4 mounted laser beams. Then you defend yourself against the endless horde. Finally, you jump through some lasers. Hope you remember the code on your HUD, because we go in and done. The nuke goes off, and somehow it doesn't completely annihilate our characters, even though they're standing right next to it. Elvira is the special player character that you can play as once you complete the Easter egg, and I do think it would have been nice if you got another Easter egg completion reward. Maybe use the mounted laser turrets or something, or maybe they're a trap that you can activate for a certain amount of points. In short, that this is my second favorite map out of all of them, and I would put it up with the good maps in Treyarch, Not great, but good. It's good for a first attempt at the mode for Infinity Ward. Okay, final stretch on the Beast Room Beyond. If you want my quick summary for the map itself, it's okay. Not good, but okay. It's 4th place in my ranking because, for one, it's really small when you really think about it. Also, it's not multiplayer friendly. There's really only 2 places to train, 3 if you're good. Really, it's only outside the theater and the hub room. There's no special guest this time around. They actually brought back David Hasselhoff to voice the operating system, Neil, and Neil controls the station. And also, new lines for Hasselhoff in the Spaceland. I do find the opening to this map the most interesting. You start out with not the Kindles, but with the OSA, and instead of zombies, you get a flurry of cryptids rushing at you. You have to run and be very defensive. Instead of just going up to the zombies and knifing them, you have to sit in a corner and pray you don't get overrun. The way the cryptids spawn are round-based, and you don't have director's cut, and if you're smart, you can get the power on by round 3, 2 if you're really good with point management. And I'm not talking about solo, by the way. Also, unlike Extinction, whereas there's many open areas, this map is very tight in close quarters. You are found to be on Europa, which you can see when you go outside. This is where Pack-a-Punch is, which is the coolest display of a Pack-a-Punch portal. You have to find some bridge pieces to build a catwalk to this massive portal. What I like about this map is that when you go through the portal in the cargo bay, I was expecting to go to some other part of the station, but to my surprise, I was actually teleported to the movie theater, all in ruin. I laughed as my friend watching kept yelling, "Yo, Kino, they copied Kino, oh my god, Infinity War is better!" This is actually really cool because you get a sense of the movie theater area you only see for a few seconds in select cutscenes and when you Pack-a-Punch. You can even go through the theater and into the arcade area, which you saw every time you died. But this time, everything is in ruin. It isn't the pristine, glowing arcade theater you saw in the other versions. When you Pack-a-Punch, you can actually go in the playable theater this time. And you can see people running around on stage and such. The double Pack-a-Punch side Easter egg is really cool. You can find a film reel in the Pack-a-Punch projector, and instead of displaying a trailer for The Beast or Beyond, it plays Spaceland. Another thing I want to mention right now is the skull cabinet on this map, Skullbreaker. It is by far the easiest machine and steps in my opinion. However, the first 2 steps are mandatory for doing the main Easter egg. I believe this was done to encourage Easter egg hunters, and it's also nice to kill 2 birds with 1 stone if you're doing both Skullbreaker and the main Easter egg. The reason for this is when you complete the second skull, you get the Entangler, which acts as exactly how it does in the machine. You aim at a zombie, it pulls it in, and you can launch it like a grenade launcher. It's very effective until I'd say around round 14-ish. The main Easter egg is incredibly short. You literally find 4 tiles and put them in order, and then you complete a puzzle, and then you carry Neil with the Entangler to Pack-a-Punch. That's it. That's the whole Easter egg. This suffers a similar effect that Revelations had, and that is, well, how the hell was I supposed to know that? It makes no sense. Sure, the tiles do. There's 4 slots and 4 screens, so maybe find some tiles that match the ones with the screens. Ooh, hey, there's a little piece of paper that has the same symbols in the tiles. Maybe match them in order. Neil's mad. How do you fix it? Well, you have to carry this random-ass button that has no reason to be there behind the cardboard cutouts in the theater area, and you have to carry it to a poster on the floor. Now you tell me, how the hell was I supposed to know that? Once you make Neil happy again, how the hell are you supposed to know that you have to carry Neil from spawn to Pack-a-Punch? It's similar to Shall and Shuffle, while in the map, the steps themselves made no sense. In this map, once you make Neil happy again, how the hell are you supposed to know that you have to carry Neil from spawn to Pack-a-Punch? It's a similar effect that Shall and Shuffle had. While in that map, the steps themselves made no sense, in this map, the transitions from steps make no sense. It is established that the Skull Cabinet rules are nonsensical, so I'm not even going to try to rip it apart. So now let's go into the boss fight, and I don't like it, let's be real, it's a terrible boss. I do like how it does take a strategy and certain movements, though. At first, you're just in a box, killing rhinos that charge at you. And it's revealed that there's a line of portals on the wall through the crate. Then another side opens, and then a blockade comes down. And in less than a minute, what seemed like a gladiator coliseum is now a fully fledged area. And now you have to defend yourself against the seemingly endless amount of cryptids that fly after you. There's a 90-second timer in the center of the room that you have to survive that long. It's nuts. Once you're done, you can activate the computer and all the cryptids suddenly disappear. You think that you're done, but then two massive mammoths come out from nowhere where you have to shoot them. These are massive bullet sponges, which is the main reason why I hate it. The more damage you do, the mammoths drop blue fire, which is the annoying part, especially when it's in a choke point. Kill the two mammoths and you're done, and now you have all 5 parts of the soul key, if you did all the Easter eggs. And now you can turn to any of the Pack-a-Punch rooms in any map, and you can put it in the soul jar. Boom. You now have Director's Cut, which is the coolest reward yet for completing an Easter egg.
I'll never get this Easter egg done! I will never get it done because it's so retarded!
Director's Cut essentially gives you the following. Every single perk on that map permanently, 25,000 points to start off, and double Pack-a-Punch is already there. So now you can double Pack-a-Punch on Spaceland without doing the Easter egg. There's also a nice incentive to go back and help people with Easter eggs, as you get 50,000 XP per person that hasn't gotten a soul key on that map. There are music Easter eggs on each map. On Spaceland, you shoot a Yeti on the roller coaster with your glasses on round 1. In Shaolin, you just have to make it to the sewer on round 1. Completing the Easter egg on Director's Cut gives you a talisman and an animated calling card. Doing all 5 of the Easter eggs with Director's Cut gives you 5 talismans. Once you have all 5, you can unlock the Super Easter egg, which is do the Beast from Beyond, and once you beat it, you will teleport to a room with 5 minutes. You have 5 minutes to hit the double Pack-a-Punch wheel, unlimited, as much as you want, all the perks, and a card refill. You are in the Afterlife arcade, and it's pretty interesting. You have 5 minutes. You are put in... After the 5 minutes are up, you are put into the coolest boss fight ever, and it's also the most difficult I've ever seen. We're talking Cuphead level of difficulty. You have to have split-second reactions due to what the boss does. You have to have memorized all of his attack styles and defend yourself against skeletons to fill in a circle of souls. I can say I love this boss fight, but it's very irritating when you spend so much time trying to carry, and then you just fail. But the boss battle mode makes this easier because you can do it instantly instead, but what I've learned is that without Perkaholic, no. I would say I've completed I think I've completed about 8 or 9 times since the typing of this script, and I hope to have many more when the devil boss battle comes out, and no. I love everything about this fight. The mechanics, the skill gap, and the fact that it's not a bullet sponge. It's all wonderfully crafted, and when you beat him, there's actually one more thing you have to do, and that's actually unlock Willard Wyler as a playable character. You actually have to unlock Willard Wyler as a playable character in Spaceland only. You now have to do Spaceland Easter egg one more time, and then you are done. The credits roll, and that's it for Infinite Warfare Zombies. You get a really sick Devil calling card and the Willard Wyler calling card to prove the task you went through. Also, you get the Director's Cut camo gun, which is really badass. Alright, I'm going to wrap up my final thoughts on the game. So, before we do that, the multiplayer DLC, it's fine. It's just additional maps. Some were good, some were bad. The Rust remake was pointless, yada yada yada. But yeah, I do like how the season pass people got additional salvage and key login rewards. That was pretty cool. The season pass holders also got weapons But if you didn't have the season pass, you could do certain challenges for those weapons in multiplayer, so I thought that was pretty good. But yet again, there's also statistically better variants of those guns, so I don't think it's worth the time. But Call of Duty Infinite Warfare is by far the worst multiplayer experience ever. There's no longevity to it. There's no point, especially when people will always have a statistically better gun than you. For zombies, well, it was a good attempt, but there were some good and some bad maps. It's definitely better than Exo Zombies. It's set a really high bar for Treyarch, and hopefully Sledgehammer, to make an Easter egg goers worth their time. The campaign was good for a Call of Duty standards, but I don't think it was worth the hype up, the fact they had Naughty Dog help them. But was the Infinite Warfare experience worth the $80 plus the other $50 for the season pass? Absolutely not. And in fact, I'm still shocked Activision hasn't made a zombie and multiplayer pass. Make each like $20 or $25, and I will happily pay for the zombie content for $25. Treyarch has proven me right, and I think the multiplayer fans, it'll be great. It'll be a great value for getting a map about $1. Treyarch has proven me right, and I think for multiplayer fans, it'll be a great value. Getting a map for $1 is pretty good in my opinion. The price I paid for 2 games is ridiculous, and it should have been $40 for the base game and $60 for the Modern Warfare Remastered bundle. The game looks terrible, though. It looks like the colors have been washed. And to play the game, I had to turn the color on my TV up around to 70, and I have to tone it back down when I play other games. It's that bad. In other words, I hate Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. There were about 14 moments throughout the year that I wanted to storm back to GameStop and ask for a refund. Man. It's finally done. Thank you guys so much for watching my Call of Duty Infinite Warfare critique, and I pray Infinity Ward does better next time. If not, that's fine. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. This took me so much time to make. The script ended up being 15 pages, so yeah, that whole thing was 15 pages. I can't believe that. But yeah, guys, thank you guys so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video. And hopefully this video does well, but you never know. Whatever. Alright, I'll see you guys in World War II. Bye, guys.
I died?